Very stock standard teamfight comp from playback, which is quite interesting that we're seeing this approach. No real surprises when it comes to rune choices. Some early game movements could be coming in from the Cursed Tide side. We see them all rallying all the way to the top lane Tribush. They will want to surprise one of the members of playback, but Yusuf should see this one coming. He's positioned in the right spot, but now we have a pause coming in. Wibbly dealing with some connectivity issues. Teams exchanging pleasantries and all chat. Clearly no bad blood between these two.
A summoner has disconnected.
Are we back? Is the question.
A summoner has disconnected. A summoner has disconnected.
Okay, we are back. Yep, so Yusuf is going to just spot pretty much everyone on the side of Cursed Tide, so this invade will only amount to some vision being placed. Not too deep though. This ward doesn't really give Cursed Tides the best possible information. Yeah, I was curious about where Rammus is going to path first, and it looks like it might just be a pathing towards bot side. So both top laners will just be left on their own for the first few minutes of the game. Maybe for a second I expected Feb to try and attack topside because of, you know, you give Yuna a lead, he can use it very well, but instead, I suppose Feb just wants to guarantee that this 2v2 for the bottom side of the map goes along without any major issues. They will be pushed in for most of this laning phase by the looks of things, but this is already a very good trade for playback. Getting a lot of damage and taking away Poor Snort Trug's flash this early. That's flashed down before 3 minutes. Did not really respect the level 2 potential. This is already a sizable disadvantage for this Cursed Tides bot lane. It will be harder for the Fresh to set up ganks if a jungler chose to come in. But as it stands, not much else happening. Hawksbill opting for the full clear and just trusting that his team will not go for any hyper-aggressive maneuvers while Rammus is hunting for his first target. Rammus will get help on this first scuttle, but look at this flash from MDip right onto Moist Swan. Here comes the jungler as well. All of his summoners already burnt. 4 Cursed Tides. It's Rammus that has to retreat. Comes in a little bit too late to try and salvage the situation, but it's already Playback securing a big advantage to summoner spells. But also an advantage in HP bars. Looks like the Kaisa does not want to stay in this lane any longer, does not have a teleport or anything of that kind, so it is quite likely that Cursed Tides will lose most of his way but is approaching the tower. The items across the board should be similar. Double longswords on both sides. But it's still going to be Kaisa without the flash, which is very big news. But here comes Rammus and Hawksbill on the Diego as well. It's a 1v1 between the two top laners, but it's Yuna who tries to do something with a flash and falls anyway. Rammus trying to get some kill in return. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but yeah, right now Rammus is way too weak. He gets that kill, but he burns all of his cooldowns for it. That just means Diego gets both kills in that 2v2 topside, and that is very, very good news for Playback. Good job from Yusuf as well, putting the lane in a situation where Yuna was pretty much forced to trade his way out of there, but Hawksbill was there at the right time. Nice lantern from Post Nord Truck is a pretty good counter trade from Cursed Tides. After that flash burned, they are trying to control the situation. Yuna forcing the issue hard with his level 6 advantage. Yusuf, I don't think he recognized the level lead. He just falls to Jax just like that. Yeah, if you're not level 6 compared to your lane opponent, you need to stand all the way away from the minion wave, because that's what can happen. Here comes the 2v2 as well. The 2v2 that Playback are forcing. Time Gear will just jump on Moist Swan's head. Does he have a damage? Just barely. Rocket jumps away. Here comes Wibbly with the roam, but he's too late to affect it. And it's once again Hawksbill with another successful gank. Here comes Rammus though. Oh, the Powerball just straight up stopped by the Diego, who was still possessing Fresh's soul all the while. Wibbly's going to try and kill the jungler. He's so close to getting it, but not quite enough. Cursed Tides, they're trying to reply to all the plays that Playback is making, but he just could not kill this pesky jungler on the other side, who already has a bounty. That's 300 gold this early into the game. Quite impressive. while Playback are doing very well for themselves in the bot side of the map, it's still Yuna that they will have to worry about at some stage. Already has a sizable lead, it has to be said. Going towards that Triforce, interestingly, not the Divine Sunderer. This could signify more of a side lane approach instead of maybe more of a team fighting approach, but now the 2v2 forced once again by Playback. Exhaust coming in by Moist Swan to try and reduce the punishment. Yusuf will just clear the oncoming wave and some of the next wave as well. But he's still hurting a lot in that top lane. This would be a prime opportunity for Rammus to try and stage a dive here, but he is not quite there to take advantage of how the wave was positioned. So Playback, they do get away with just Ornn tending to his wounds in the top lane, not really being punished, while Hawksbill gets a dragon kill on the other side of the map. Now he's going to gank bot lane once again. Cursed Tides had the vision, but they just don't respond fast enough. And another hook from Hawksbill while he was possessing the enemy support. And he is just running the show right now. The Week 7 MVP coming in this first game. Completely deciding the fate of this bot lane in Game 1. Kraken Slayer already completed. Tyson Fresh in a lot of trouble, but finally Cursed Tides may be something here, but a snapback from Wibbly comes at a very inopportune time. They were trying to get that kill for themselves, but wasn't quite enough. It's once again Cursed Tides trying to match Playback's aggression, but they don't come away with the same spoils as Playback. This is why we have this 2,000 gold lead right now. Support roam from Mdip, but it is spotted by some nice vision on the other side. Cursed Tides right now trying to make this Victor sweat a little bit, but he still has that CS lead. He's not really being moved out of lane. Playback still controlling how the game is being played, the tempo of the game. Without really suffering any major casualties on the other side, but Sleepy Twink, they found the gap in the vision. Cursed Tides finally punish the Playback mid laner with a nice roam from Yuna, and that's another kill for him. Maybe this is the way for Cursed Tides. They need to try and get Yuna even further up ahead. You know, actually, Yuna taking matters into his own hands a little bit here. He's going for a maximum side lane Punisher build with his lethal tempo and Triforce setup. But once again, Mdip with a very nice knockback. But the shield and the lantern will protect the Kaisa. And now Alistar potentially could die under tower. One more tower shot is going to hit. And Post-North Truck gets a kill in return. Playback finally punished for their aggression. And it's also Ram is securing a very nice kill in the mid lane, so Cursed Tides are fighting back. The teleport is coming in to try and stop this dive. And it will be successful. Yuna taking advantage of the lead he accrued in the top lane to try and relieve some pressure on the other side of the map, but it's still an advantage for playback despite everything that happened. Tristana should come away with the Kraken Slayer on this base. Now Wibbly actually moving to the top side of the map to match with Ornn. They will try to gank Wibbly. Can Rammus and Jax stop this from happening? No, they can't. But can they at least secure one kill 2v2? The burst damage from the Jax and the Rammus. They actually get it done. Unfortunately, the bounty goes over to the Rammus. That gold would be much better suited on the Jax, but, you know, in the heat of battle, you just want to make sure that the Viego dies, and that is exactly what they did. So, can't really blame the jungler in that situation. It's just an unfortunate turn of events. Sleepy Twink actually moving bot as Victor after pushing out that wave, just trying to really drive the point home here for Cursed Tides that their bot lane is not going to have a good time this game. As I say that, Moist Swan 43 is flashed on once again by the Alistar, and so much damage from the Kraken Slayer, but a nice hook stops Time Gear in his tracks. And it's a 1-4-0 trade for Cursed Tides. Playback really want to get some kills going, but they are being stopped by Post-Nord Truck. We saw that dive earlier. The 2v3 situation. The Fresh managed to defuse that, and now we saw another 2v2 all-in attempt. That was once again stopped. No kills for Tristana, so far so good for Cursed Tides. Now we're going to start the Dragon. What's going to be the situation here? Cursed Tides, all the while they take down the top lane turret as well. Playback will just force the issue. They want to start the fight, but Rammus is straight onto the backline. There's no damage coming in onto Cursed Tides. Right now is looking very good for Cursed Tides. It's a 2v1 situation. Look at what Ornn is doing on the other side of this fight as Viego and Ornn just ravage the backline. It looked good for the backline setup of Cursed Tides, but just as Viego and Ornn arrived, it quickly turned sour for them. That was a great TP from Playback. They get the Dragon on top of that as well, so pretty much all that you can ask for. And once Viego finishes his Triforce, it's going to become even harder for Cursed Tides to play the game. Obviously, Cursed Tides, they want to go in, they want to burst down the important targets, but if Viego just plays the fights patiently, plays a bit of a counter-engage role in these fights, Playback can burst down one target on the other side, then every single Viego possession, it feels like, will have some kind of impact in the fight. So just maneuvering in these fights is going to be hard for Cursed Tides. as we enter the mid game in full swing. Playback will just take this second Herald without much of a response from the enemy team. It's pretty common for the bot side of the map. It's not something I expected, given how the lane assignments are going. Maybe Cursed Tides could have potentially looked for some kind of play attempt on the bottom lane, with Victor being matched up against the Jax. So far, no such plays have been made. Right now, we just have a moment of calm in this game. Both junglers looking for chances, but they don't really find any. Yeah, the way the map is set up right now, it's very unlikely that anything happens mid lane, which is why I kind of expected to see Rammus on one side of the map at some point. Yeah, we're just not seeing a lot of action, while Viego is just taking camp after camp, getting stronger. He's going to hit that third item, which I assume is a Black Cleaver. And with those free items, he's going to be really, really hard to deal with. Right now, he doesn't really have to focus on magic resistance all that much because of the state of the game. He can always go in for that Wit's End if he wants to. Yuna just straight up going in for that 1v1. Forcing out the flash. With the Spirit Shojin and the Triforce, he wants to continue to put that pressure in the side lane. It is what Cursed Tides need to try and spread this playback team around. Put some pressure on them, try to force a move. Here comes Time Gear to try and stop Yuna, but it's just a 1v1! It's just a 1v1 that one wins! With Sunfire Cape and Thornmail, but now there's no time to talk about that because Cursed Tides are forcing another fight around mid lane. But Playback are responding nicely. No kills yet. Every 14th could just fall from the death ray, but gets away in time. I was not expecting that 1v1 to go in the favor of Ornn, but it just shows you that maybe in those extended fights, where you're actually fighting your lane opponent, maybe that Divine Sunderer would have been more valuable. You want to force the issue like this. Now, obviously, in theory, Triforce should amount to more DPS, but I feel like in a fight versus a side laner, that's not the only thing you want to focus on. MDib is going to get caught out, will he? Actually, the gravity field, not quite enough to stop Jax from taking back kills, so
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Cursed Tides. Uh-oh. We're seeing some movement towards the Baron. They will just try to take advantage of the fact that Playback were a little bit dragged around the map towards the bottom side. This gives them the tempo advantage, and they will just start it. Can Playback respond in time? They do have the TP coming in from the Victor. Jax is playing bouncer here, trying to stop the bot lane from coming into the Baron pit. First Tides, they seem to have enough DPS to force this down. They will do so, but now they have to try and run away from this situation. I don't think they want this fight. They will just try and disengage. While Playback try and chase them around. The Viego reset comes in. It's the first one of the fight. The second death will come after. And look at what this Viego is able to do. Double kill. But he won't be able to stop all of the recalls. So Cursed Tides, they just about get away with this Baron buff. What will be the price that they will pay in the grand scheme of things? It's still Yone and Fresh dead. The Baron buff will stop them. It will stop Playback from getting the push onto the tier 2. Baron empowered minion is doing a lot of work. So yeah, overall, it wasn't a bad choice from Cursed Tides. It was a good opportunistic play. It's just that Playback, with the champions that they have, are just able to chase you down pretty easily in a spot like this. The Cursed Tides couldn't quite get out of a Baron pit cleanly. Now, are we going to see some action around the side lane for Cursed Tides to try and take advantage of the fact that you have the Baron buff, you want to get some towers down, but Rammus is hovering around bot lane once again where the Victor is located, but just not seeing much happening. Instead, Rammus is constantly hovering around bot lane, or sorry, mid lane, where Playback seems to be very safe. So Sleepy Twink forced to use a stopwatch. That's fate sealed down for the Yone. So a lot of pressure taken away. Oh, the stun lands from Hawksbill. That stun actually landed onto the Kaisa. That is ridiculous. That did not look like a kill, and yet it was. So with this Baron buff, what can Yuna even do? He doesn't even get the tower! Yusuf stops him from taking the tower. Incredible. With this Baron buff, Cursed Tides have not managed to land a single turret takedown. Keeping Cursed Tides on a tight leash here. But also, you know, on the other side, it doesn't really feel like Cursed Tides are taking advantage of all the tools that they have to try and apply pressure on Playback through the side lanes. It's just not happening on either side. Jax and Yone left on their lonesome in 1v1 situations. When you have these strong side laners, this is not what you want to do. You want to give them some kind of support. But anyway, it's going to be Cursed Tides starting off this dragon. This is Soul Point. If Playback take this, it could just be curtains, but look at how quickly the jungler falls for Cursed Tides, and the taunt lands from the Viego. These possessions doing a lot of work in the team fights. Hawksbill as Rammus is actually proving to be more effective than Rammus himself, which is quite unfortunate if you think about it, but That's just going to be it. The Viego getting the first kill in the fight is pretty much always going to tip the scales in your favor. Playback, get the dragon, they get the tier 2 bot lane turret as well. They are running the map. And right now it seems to be all thanks to Hawksbill on this Viego pick. Yusuf, you know, he really wanted this tier 2 turret. It looks like he will die for it. It's just going to take a while. It's all 5 members hitting him right now, and the shutdown goes over to Rammus once again. Cursed Tides had pretty much free choice on who should take that kill, and it's Rammus that takes it. Maybe it was the 4-mail proc, but again, it's another important shutdown going over to Rammus in a spot where Cursed Tides really needs more gold on their important carries. Especially this bot lane Kaisa. Now playback, they have the Baron set up, they will just start it. No hesitation. Or actually, perhaps... Okay. We're not quite ready to start it yet. We have the Yone pushing down the bot lane turret. That's an objective bounty for Cursed Tides. They do remain active on the map while all this is happening. Playback decide to play it cool. They will just match the Yone with the Ornn. He's trying to burst him down, but it's just not happening whatsoever. February 14th. Take it away to safety with that lantern. The top laner's TP comes out. And that creates a bit of a hole in pressure that Cursed Tides can exploit, but now playback are onto the Baron pit, and okay, it doesn't look like Cursed Tides will be able to even take the tier 2 in exchange. This Rammus pick just feels so vulnerable every time he's forced to frontline on his own, and he can't proc the Aftershock. That seems to be the main issue for Cursed Tides. They want to play these fights front to back, but they're just kind of ill-equipped to do so. But okay, maybe there's something for Cursed Tides here. Zanya's Hourglass from Sleepy Twink, followed up by the Flash, but it's still going to be a kill. Maybe that Flash was unnecessary. He bought some time, though. Let's see how many kills can Playback get in return. Mdib onto the Jax. It's 4 members of Cursed Tides here. They're going to take down the Alistar. Look at what's happening mid lane with Tristana versus Kaisa 1v1. And it forces out the Wibbly TP. Sorry, the Yuna TP. Try and cover mid lane, because otherwise it could have just been an inhibitor going down. But now we see Hawksbill's health bar is... It's not even going down, honestly. And now he has the Yone possession, which means he can do so much more in this skirmish. And the Viego is simply unplayable. He gets the Yone possession or he gets the Jax possession. It's just over. It's just over. What more can you do in these fights when Viego, with 1 kill, is able to just cycle his own cooldowns into cycling another champion's cooldowns, and then, like, the fight is just so hard to play. Tiebreaker onto the Jax. Can they get the kill? The Ornn will secure it in the end. Moist Swan is completely helpless versus the enemy tank. And that's just going to be the end of this game, as Cursed Tides are unable to stop this final siege. The Nexus will be destroyed. It's an 18 kill game with only one death at the end of it all from Hawksbill. With some kind of jungler that can assist them in doing so. And then the answer for playback, it is different because of some of the picks that were banned, like the Zac instead of the Ornn because of the Ornn ban, which is fair. Like the Ornn was a bit of a problem that game, by the looks of things. But the Viego still comes through for Hawksbill. This is a best of 3. Playback are one game away from winning the series and securing the #1 seed going into playoffs.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, the fact that Cursed Tides were able to choose blue side, that forced out the Tristana ban, which meant that there was one bonus option for Cursed Tides to go for. They got the jungler pretty early into the draft, which, you know, relieves you of the problems that you were dealing with in the first game, where Cursed Tides, they picked the Rammus, didn't work out. Clearly not their primary choice for sure. Not what they wanted to go for. Not to mention the Rammus is just a champion that has a very clearly defined weaknesses. So not really a champion that fits into any kind of situation, so that was just pretty big problem for Cursed Tides, one that they managed to deal with in this draft. And also the bot lane matchup seems to be more comfortable for them as well. Not as much room for playback to force 2v2 attempts. Not that they would want to in this case, I don't think they want to. They are still very much lane focused though. I'm not sure how things would turn out later going into team fights. I feel like playback will still be favored going into like 20-25 minutes. But if they can get some early game leads going, maybe this game can look different. Both top laners starting with Doran's Shield. Yusuf actually going for Conqueror. As both top laners hit level 3, Yusuf will have that elastic slingshot to get away from any trouble. We see a similar kind of story compared to the last game. Playback's solo laners just making sure to stay out of trouble. This is the game plan going into the game. As long as that happens, Viego can just get strong at his own pace, and then once you have these items, you can play a lot more forward. And you can win fights for these neutral objectives. But now, Hawksbill finished his first clear, and he's already bot lane once again. Just trying to make this bot lane's life a living hell. Now you could argue, and you would be correct, that Cursed Tides, given what happened first game, they should be expecting this kind of attention. But that was not quite the case, as now Ended and Time Gear, they want to force some kind of 2v2 kill. Hawksbill is once again here, going for that flash stun. It will not be a kill, however. It's a first blood for the Soraka. They forced a little bit too hard, and Cursed Tides get away with their lives for now. Yeah, the idea was good, it's just that the execution seemed to be a bit lacking, but it's not all bad for playback. They get the wave pushed in. Harvest will lose some of this. Ezreal is already back in lane. Could be worse. Not the end of the world, that's for certain. Just a bit of a hiccup in this early stage of the game. Didn't really delay Foxbill all that much either. Well, Vi manages to get that large raptor actually, so it is a small win for the Cursed Tides jungler. Tiebreaker actually feeling very bold in this 2v2 matchup. Arcane shifting in just for that extra damage. He knows it's quite difficult for the enemy bot lane to punish him, even if he does that. Okay, but now we see what Yuna should be able to do, in theory. The Apprehend comes out. Yusuf tries to trade back, but Noxian Guillotine comes out. It is countered by the Zac passive. Yusuf flashes into tower, like towards tower range, but it's not quite what he wanted. And despite everything that I said, Yuna actually surpasses my expectations for his early game, and he really gets an even bigger lead than last time. Meanwhile, Wibbly forces out a flash from Sleepy Twink. Yone's kill pressure rises pretty much every time he hits that level 6 mark, so it's gonna be a flash burn pretty much every time. So far, so good from Cursed Tides. This is what we want to see more of. You pick solo lanes like these, this is the kind of pressure that we want to be applying. But now, we want to see February 14th to try and push the issue further as well. If there's a dive to be had, then you obviously go for that. Or if the control mage mid is overextended, and you want to be there to try and stop that pesky mage from scaling safely into the mid game. Vi has already hit level 6, so we'll be looking for that first opportunity. Sleepy Twink is without the flash, so that is where the Vi is heading. Scatter the Weak is down, but this is a little bit too obvious. Sleepy Twink was not far enough up the lane. Oh, but now he's actually going for a solo kill attempt himself, but maybe with one more orb he would be able to secure that kill. Just about 50 HP away from securing that. Okay. Another 2v2 attempt from Tiebreaker and MDib, but they actually almost able to secure that one. MDib with a very nice knockback onto the Karthus and Soraka. But here comes February 14th on the Vi. We want to get at least one kill in this situation. The problem is, more Swan and poor Snore Truck, not quite. Yeah, the Soraka already on very low health, so it would just be Karthus following up this play, and I guess they weren't quite confident that they would be able to get these kills in time before Hawksbill comes in for the counter gank. So two potential windows that were there for Cursed Tides, and so far haven't really made use of any of them. Meanwhile, Yuna is perfectly fine all on his lonesome. But perhaps this is where the jungler should be focusing most of their attention. Oh, the Noxian Guillotine at 4 stacks. Yusuf fighting back, he actually gets the kill onto Vidarius. So it is a 1-for-1 trade, but Zac will still lose some minions for his trouble. Wibbly comes in for the assist. But as we see here, Sleepy Twink is getting plates in mid lane as well, so this play did not come without an answer. Now, all that being said, it's still, once again, a situation where Cursed Tides, they have this really big lead in the top lane, but how much can they really do with it is the question. And another question for me would be the amount of attention given towards the top side of the map is not where it should be in my opinion, but just doesn't care. He will just go for his solo kill and he will most likely get it. As now we see February 14th, once again, targeting the bot side of the map. But it's a nice quickness from the Rakan to try and turn the tides around here. And Time Gear actually gets the first kill of this fight as the TP comes in from the Syndra. And it will be a 2-for-1 for now. Might even be a 3-for-1 for a playback. As the Dark Spheres and the Mystic Shots keep landing. But one more Mystic Shot was needed to actually secure that kill. Still though, a little bit of hesitation. Cursed Tides, they go for this play towards the bot lane that, in my opinion, is just harder to gank. I guess, February 14th, quite concerned about the state of his bot lane given what happened last game, but how much can you realistically do? The strong side of the map is not receiving attention. You're playing towards this weak side, and you're not really getting the results. Well, I say strong side. Technically, Vi is going towards the bot lane, so the bot lane is the strong side, but that's not... Obviously, that's not what I meant by all that. It's just that Darius is the winning matchup, clearly. It's not even close. But Darius is creating the leads by himself. But there's only so much he can do 1v1. Meanwhile, Wibbly also trying his hardest, but as we've seen already, it's quite hard to push a lead versus a Syndra to try and get the advantage if you're a melee champion.
Turret plating will soon fall.
Yeah, seeing how this is turning out, Yusuf will have to suffer for quite a long time. He's still a long way away from his Sunfire. Then even if he builds that, he's still going to be at a disadvantage. I'm sure he just wants to get out of his lane as fast as possible, but right now it's just not happening. Moist Swan and Post-Nord Truck forced to recall. A teleport comes out from Wibbly. Playback still go for the play. It's actually the teleport gets cancelled by Sleepy Twink. So it's just a 2v2 that Playback can easily win. Now Yuna gets a kill on the other side, but still, look at what Playback is doing. Now they will have to try and get away. Hawksbill actually fighting against Darius, and he gets that solo kill just barely. What a play. But now, Webley finally unleashes all of his power. And Cursed Tides, by the skin of their teeth, turn around that skirmish in the bot lane. It looked very bad. But they keep the game within arm's reach. On the other side, though, you have to look at Hawksbill and how consistently he's able to build these leads on the champion. He gets all of his gold for himself. He got the kill onto the Darius. There was no bounty on that kill, but oh no. That is just a free influx of gold for the Ezreal. No scatter of the week for Sleepy Twink, which means Wibbly will go for this aggressive trade. The snapback means he's able to get out of trouble very fast. Look at what's happening bot lane. This is basically just Playback's bot lane, taking the tower completely unopposed. The bot lane was just late to the party, I guess. It's two towers in the early game taken by Playback despite the leads that mid and top were able to build. Every 14th tries to get time gear. He flashes. Nope, he still has a flash. He arcing shifts away. They try to get him. They finally get him, but it's a 2-for-1. Cursed Tides spend so many of their resources just to try and get that one kill. Okay, maybe they can be able to get Hawksbill here. Playback going too far on this play. And Cursed Tides, they are fighting back. They're keeping this competitive for sure. It's also quite important that Yuna was able to get this kill. Feels like they will be very dependent on the Darius being able to buy as much time as possible inside of the team fights. Because they can dive the backline, sure, but is it really a guaranteed engage? Not quite. Yusuf, okay. Getting some tower hits, getting some help from the tower, but still, Yuna was more than strong enough to secure the kill here. But look at Hawksbill and where he is on the map. Gonna try and get a revenge kill. He does not have flash, so Yuna manages to get away just in time. Oh, Moist Swan. Punished so easily for just existing in mid lane. Now, obviously, when Syndra is this sad, you just ate all of her cooldowns. So clearly, that was not the place to be. If you're behind the curve like this, you just want to stay next to your tower and farm. But Wibbly wants to go for the Ezreal, but he just gets punished swiftly. And it's constantly Cursed Tides trying to go for this Ezreal, but at what cost? February 14th just takes a trip all the way almost to the enemy tower. But he stays alive thanks to the Soraka. Yuna is here as well. He turns the tides around for his team. It's a double kill for Yuna, but now he gets stunned. How much can he do? On the upside of his fight, look at the healing! He just cannot die. The Soraka plus the Decimate, the missing health heal on the Q, the outer half of the axe. He won the fight pretty much on his own, and Cursed Tides. This is what I was talking about. the top laner was the deciding factor.
Turret has been destroyed.
And this is probably the first time in this series that we can confidently say that Cursed Tides are in the lead. But it took so much work for UNL to make this happen. That was just an extremely clutch fight from Cursed Tides. Just when we thought that this was just another step too far, the Cursed Tides were once again forcing onto the bot lane, and just looked like the Vi was just pretty much set to die in that spot, so far away from her team. They save her just in the nick of time, and then Vidarius comes in, Ghost in hand, his Tiebreaker ready. This might just be the turnaround that Cursed Tides were looking for. But we cannot forget about Playback's jungler. Also the Playback's mid laner, who has just bought his Zhonya's Hourglass. This is a very, very strong jungle mid duo. That Zhonya's Hourglass can deny many of the important cooldowns on the other side of a rift. So it feels crucial that Cursed Tides choose their fights wisely. Because there are many tools for Playback to counter-engage to stop the first charge from inflicting major damage. And then a champion like Ezreal can carry almost any kind of fight given enough time. So now it's actually Syndra playing against Vidarius. At the bottom side of the map, not much seems to be happening. But now, Feb is actually, oh, I thought he was moving towards this bot side of the map to try and force Sleepy Twink away from a tower, but he's just going to spawn the Rift Herald. It's all the help that Vidarius will be getting, but at least that falling tower finally comes down. So there is something. And you're still looking for these aggressive cues. Hawksbill is now here to cover. Oh, look at Playback. They want to collapse on this Yone, and it looks like they will get to him in time. Early is popped by MDib. Fate Sealed blocked expertly by Hawksbill. Soul Unbound does not change anything, and Hawksbill gets a very important pick on the side lane. This will slow down Cursed Tide significantly. And now another great stun by Sleepy Twink. That's pick number 2 for Playback. I guess this does just mean Baron, but is this... Can this be stopped by Cursed Tides? No. No, it can't. Yuna will not use his teleport. February 14th does not want to go for his steal attempt. Those 2 picks alone were able to give play back the Baron, and they're right back in it. Just like that. It didn't take long for playback to get back in this game. And that's right as we approach this dragon. That trying to go for some kind of damage, but he was in a pretty risky situation. Cursed Tides, they want to go for this approach, but a very nice stun by Sleepy Twink. Stuns 3 people at the same time. Now, I think Playback should just try to regroup, get their people in the right side lanes, and get some damage going. But Moist Swan is really feeling the hurt this game, and it also forces Post Nord Truck to try and keep him at 100% health. That comes at a significant cost. This means that Soraka is not as active on the map as she would like to be. Playback still pushing mid, but now they have Hawksbill in position. They will just force this one down. Moist Swan going for the engage onto the Soraka. They will get the first kill. Hawksbill goes in for another, but he's quickly shut down by the Vi. That was a step too far, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. It does stop Playback's momentum here a little bit. At least they got 1 tower from it all. So that's about it. What more can Playback get done with this Baron buff? With how strong Yuna is and with how strong Yuna is becoming, feels like the options for Playback in the side lanes are maybe a little bit limited, unless Diego is there to assist. I guess Playback would rather just play for their next item spikes instead of risking some kind of fight that could go in Cursed Tide's favor. It looks like soon Syndra will finish her Rabadon's Death Cap, then we will have the Black Cleaver from the Viego. Ezreal already has Cyrilda's Grudge, so these big spikes are coming in for Playback. Soon I imagine they will feel strong enough to match Cursed Tides blow for blow. And I wager they do have a team comp to just go at it in a 5v5 situation, but they do need to be careful about this Darius and Yone. They want to be the ones kiting, they want to be the ones absorbing the pressure. Yeah, we're quickly approaching a pivotal point inside of his game. Hawksbill's looking for the pick. A little bit isolated here. He still goes for it though. Look at the amount of damage that Soraka just took straight to the face. Possession for Hawksbill, but he will die. This forces both teleports from Vidarius and Vione at the same time. Requiem comes out, but doesn't kill anyone, obviously. Just a 1-for-1 pick before this dragon. But it is a more important pick, a more important player for playback that is now unavailable. And I don't think playback wants this fight. Wibbly goes over the wall. They will go for initial pick. Damage onto the mid laner. Zanya's Hourglass popped. The flash will have to be popped as well. RB14 tries to go for a solo kill, but he doesn't. Way too far up on the play. Two super important picks right now for playback as the dragon is about to spawn. How much can Wibbly get done? But the answer is not much because the stun from Sleepy Twink is right on the money. And Cursed Tides, after that really good pick onto the Viego, which gave them a lot of freedom to do stuff around the map, they just overextended on this fight right next to the inhibitor turret down the mid lane, and playback, they have the gold lead once more, and they have even more damage items on their carries. First Tide's already in a spot where they were feeling the pressure, they were feeling that the outscale is pretty much coming, given how the team comps are looking. They are just making the wrong moves on the map. Okay, Time Gear now forced to flash because cease and desist from the Vi was available. That would have been a dead Ezreal. Now we see playback forcing the Baron, but given how Time Gear was positioned, that just means playback have to be a bit more careful and they have to disengage. But I don't imagine they will let Cursed Tides just take this away for free. True Shot Barrage gets a lot of damage down. Poor Snort Truck once again in a lot of trouble. Playback diving right onto the support and they will get him down. They will get both bot laners down, in fact. And the damage is so big from all the members of playback. Darius actually fighting valiantly to try and get some damage back. Oh, nice dodges actually from Wibbly, but yeah, it's just too much. Hawksbill and Sleepy Twink, their powers combined are more than enough to win this fight. And that's playback with the Baron. They had to fight a lot harder for him than last time, but it's once again this jungle mid duo that proves to be a very important piece for playback. Oh my goodness. That was a WQ. That was a WQ from Sleepy Twink. That forces the Soraka to heal the Karthus back to full, but that takes 50% of their HP. Like, Cursed Tides, they cannot take this poke. Most Swan just dies in mid lane just like that. The Ezreal plus the Syndra keeping Cursed Tides at a distance. They can't really find a way to fight back. And playback, maybe they feel confident enough to just end this game right here. They want to keep pushing. How much can they realistically do with just one wave of minions? I don't know if this is it. It will take more to bring Cursed Tides down. Skip, minion wave is here now. That's another structure taken down. Oh! Flash from Whibley, he really wants to go for this play, but he is stopped. What was this really for? Is the question. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication. Yeah, not sure what that was about. But anyway, first Tides. Perhaps they were looking to stop the recalls and they just didn't quite make it work. It simply looks like the way things are going, we will see an Elder Dragon. But it will be an Elder Dragon that Playback are much better prepared to take. Mid lane inhib is still giving a lot of trouble to Cursed Tides. And then the side lanes, it's not really an area where Cursed Tides have a lot of pressure anymore. Given how strong Syndra is. They go for this cease and desist onto the Ezreal, but a nice buffer pretty much cancels it out entirely. Yuna goes for the Apprehend, but he's entirely isolated here. He does not have any support. He will get bursted down. Final members of Playback, Unleash Power used on the most important member, because of course it will. Now, nice Fate Sealed from Whibley, but it just kills the support. Darius and Yone down. That must mean that this game is pretty much sealed. It's over and done with. Only the Carp is left alive, but only for 2 seconds longer. Playback win this series 2-0. In the second game, they had to fight quite hard for it. It was Cursed Tides with a lead that was about 3,000 or 4,000, but two small mistakes led to a Baron, led to more fights conceded.